Think GM simply refreshed its truck engines? Think again. General Motors has officially retired both the legendary 5.3-liter and 6.2-liter V8 engines, replacing them with two completely new power plants for the 2027 Silverado and Sierra. After years of recalls, lawsuits, and costly repairs, this is the biggest gasoline engine change GM has made in decades. The most surprising clue is not horsepower or torque. It is something much smaller that almost everyone overlooked. The factory oil specification tells an important story about what GM learned from its biggest engine problems. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why these engines disappeared, what GM changed, and whether the replacements are finally worth trusting. For nearly 30 years, the 5.3-liter V8 served as the backbone of GM's full-size truck lineup. Millions of drivers relied on it for commuting, towing, road trips, and demanding job sites. Many families have owned multiple trucks powered by this engine. That long chapter has now come to an end. GM has confirmed that neither the familiar 5.3-liter nor the 6.2-liter V8 will continue in the 2027 Chevrolet Silverado or GMC Sierra. Instead, buyers will receive an all-new 5.7-liter V8 and a larger 6.6-liter V8, both belonging to the sixth generation of GM's famous small-block engine family. That announcement raises one obvious question. Why replace two engines that remained in production for so many years? The answer has very little to do with styling or marketing. It comes down to reliability, customer confidence, and the enormous financial cost of fixing problems. GM invested more than $1.6 billion across multiple North American manufacturing plants to launch these engines. Companies do not spend that kind of money unless they believe major improvements are necessary. In this case, recent years made that decision much easier. The outgoing 6.2-liter V8 became the center of a major recall affecting hundreds of thousands of trucks and SUVs. Thousands of field reports described serious engine failures. Many owners experienced sudden power loss while driving, creating dangerous situations on highways and busy streets. Some incidents even involved engine fires and injuries. Those problems severely damaged confidence in one of GM's flagship truck engines. If you currently own a Silverado or Sierra equipped with the 5.3-liter or the 6.2-liter V8, understanding what happened inside these engines is extremely important because those failures explain many of the engineering changes found in their replacements. According to federal recall documents, one major issue involved contamination left inside connecting rods and crankshaft oil passages during manufacturing. Small amounts of debris restricted oil flow where lubrication mattered most. Some crankshafts also failed to meet proper production specifications. Together, those defects reduced lubrication to critical bearings. Once bearings lose a steady supply of oil under heavy loads, damage accelerates rapidly instead of developing slowly over time. For many owners, that eventually resulted in complete engine failure. GM responded by launching a recall program. Dealers inspected affected engines, replacing those that showed significant damage. Trucks passing inspection received a different repair. The original factory-filled 0W20 oil was replaced with thicker 0W40 oil, along with a new oil filter, an updated oil cap, and revised owner information. While that repair addressed lubrication concerns, many owners questioned whether thicker oil alone could permanently solve problems involving contaminated components or improperly manufactured crankshafts. Later, another federal investigation began after additional owners reported engine failures even after receiving the recall repair. Anyone who owns an affected 2021 through 2024 truck should still complete the recall because it includes valuable warranty protection. But it is also important to understand that no recall can erase every concern overnight. The bearing recall was only part of the story. A separate legal case focused on cylinder deactivation lifters installed in many 5.3-liter and 6.2-liter engines produced over several model years. Those lifters were designed to improve fuel economy by temporarily shutting down selected cylinders during light driving conditions. When they failed, owners reported ticking noises, rough idle, misfires, reduced performance, and, in severe situations, extensive internal engine damage requiring expensive repairs. Repair costs reported by owners frequently reached thousands of dollars, especially when damaged camshafts or complete engine replacements became necessary. That created understandable frustration among truck owners who expected dependable long-term durability from engines carrying the Chevrolet and GMC names. It is important not to confuse the lifter lawsuit with the bearing recall, because they involve completely different mechanical problems. But here is the bigger question. If GM knew these issues had damaged owner confidence, what exactly did it change inside the replacement engines to make sure history does not repeat itself? That answer begins with the hardware itself. Now attention shifts to the replacements themselves. The new 5.7-liter and 6.6-liter V8 engines are not simply enlarged versions of the outgoing designs. GM says they feature forged pistons, forged connecting rods, a redesigned lubrication system, and both port and direct fuel injection working together. Those upgrades are important because forged internal components generally provide greater strength under heavy towing, hauling, and demanding workloads than comparable cast parts. Beyond durability, the revised oiling system is designed to maintain more consistent oil pressure under high temperatures and sustained engine loads, exactly where the previous generation faced its greatest criticism. Another interesting decision involves the engine codes. GM revived historic designations that once belonged to legendary Chevrolet performance engines from decades ago. That choice is unlikely to be accidental. It signals that the company wants longtime enthusiasts to associate these new truck engines with some of the most respected V8s in its history. Whether nostalgia alone can restore confidence remains to be seen, but the message is clear. GM understands that rebuilding trust requires more than simply introducing another engine. Official horsepower and torque figures have not yet been fully released. Rumors continue to circulate online, but they remain unconfirmed. GM has only stated that the larger 6.6-liter will be the most powerful naturally aspirated V8 in its class. Until official specifications become available, it makes far more sense to focus on confirmed engineering changes rather than internet speculation. Perhaps the most revealing change has nothing to do with horsepower at all. It involves the oil. Previous generations typically left the factory filled with 0W20 engine oil. The 6th generation engines now use 0W30 from the beginning. That may sound like a small adjustment, but it represents a meaningful engineering decision. While the change from factory-filled 0W20 to 0W30 may sound minor, it points toward a stronger focus on long-term durability. The thicker operating viscosity can provide a more robust protective oil film under heavy loads, suggesting GM prioritized bearing protection during development. That change becomes even more interesting when you remember that GM instructed dealers to refill recalled 6.2-liter engines with 0W40 oil during recall service. Looking at those decisions together suggests the company placed much greater emphasis on lubrication and bearing protection while developing the 6th generation engines. Drivers who regularly tow heavy trailers, haul equipment, or operate in extremely hot climates should always follow GM's maintenance recommendations and warranty requirements. Proper oil selection and regular service remain among the simplest ways to protect any engine over the long term. Beyond lubrication improvements, reports indicate GM has moved more manufacturing operations in-house instead of depending as heavily on outside suppliers. Since supplier-related machining issues contributed to earlier failures, tighter production control could improve consistency and reduce the likelihood of similar defects reaching customers. One major question still remains unanswered. GM has not officially confirmed whether cylinder deactivation has been completely eliminated or significantly redesigned for these engines. Patent filings indicate the company has been developing updated technology intended to improve lubrication within the valve train, but GM has not confirmed exactly when or where those improvements will appear. Until official details are released, nobody can honestly guarantee that this concern has been completely resolved. Even so, several changes already appear encouraging. Stronger forged components, revised lubrication, updated manufacturing practices, and a fresh engine architecture all point toward a serious effort to improve durability. On paper, those decisions address many of the weaknesses that hurt the reputation of the previous engines. One final point deserves attention. Too many online discussions combine every GM engine problem into one story, but the facts are more complicated. Bearing failures, supplier machining defects, and cylinder deactivation lifter issues are separate problems with different causes. The 6th generation V8 appears to address several of those weaknesses through stronger internal components, revised lubrication, and improved manufacturing processes. On paper, that is exactly what truck owners wanted to see. But real confidence is earned on the road, not in a press release. Over the next few years, these engines will be tested by commuters, contractors, farmers, and families who rely on their trucks every day. Their experiences, not advertisements, will determine whether GM has truly restored confidence in its V8 lineup. Until then, the smartest approach is to follow verified technical updates, compare warranty coverage and maintenance costs, and let long-term reliability speak for itself. The retirement of the 5.3-liter and 6.2-liter V8 marks the end of an important chapter in GM truck history, but it also begins a new one, filled with high expectations. If these new engines deliver the durability owners have been waiting for, they could define GM trucks for many years to come. If they fail to meet those expectations, buyers will remember the lessons learned from the previous generation. Either way, this is one of the most significant changes GM has made to its truck lineup in decades, and every current owner and future buyer should be paying close attention before making the next purchase.